Welcome back. When you think of a child predator or someone who views child pornography, you might think of that creepy guy who hides from society in some lonely basement. However, a recent child porn sting in the New York area paints a very different picture. ICE arrested nearly 70 people in the bust, and they're promising more to come. Police say they arrested one of their own, a police chief, also arresting a rabbi, a Boy Scout leader, even a nurse. You had other people in law enforcement, as well as also even in the fire department.
This operation puts the lie to the classic stereotypical profile that child predators are nothing more than unemployed drifters. Many of the defendants are, in fact, well-educated and successful in their private and professional lives.
There are nothing more than videotaped crime scenes watched by predators lurking in the shadows of the internet.
All right, so tonight I want to know, not just since we all agree on the horrific nature of this, but how does the law and the court really treat these crimes? Not just the producers of the content, but those who view even from their own home here. Now, the person who produces the image versus those who view them. I want to bring in our legal panel right now, and tonight we're joined by Lisa Wexler, probate judge in Connecticut, also an attorney, and she's in this media thing too, host of award-winning radio program, The Lisa Wexler Show. Mark Furnish, constitutional attorney who's argued before the Supreme Court, professor of Brooklyn Law, and there's an amicus brief we're going to be talking about as well this hour. Jim Kasouras, criminal defense attorney in Manhattan, lecturing at New York Law School, and as we all like to give him a hard time for, also a visiting professor at University of Birmingham in jolly old England. And Doug Van Oist, a founding partner of Karsten Van Oist, focusing on corporate misconduct, selected by the Legal 500 as one of the most influential trial lawyers in the nation. All right, I'm going to start with you two guys, former prosecutors. Were you shocked just when some of the vocations that these people that they rounded up did? I mean, I got to admit, when, you know, Donovan was right here. When I think of somebody who's looking at this stuff, it's not somebody, you know, who leads, you know, a house of worship, or somebody who's wearing a badge, or somebody that's put in any position of authority. Did that take you guys by surprise, or is this one of the dirty secrets that go along with this? Go ahead.
I mean, I was shocked. I mean, how could you not be shocked anytime you hear about something like this? I mean, listen, if the allegations are what they are, of course you'd have to be shocked.
Unfortunately, I'm getting less and less shocked as the years go by. I mean, you know, how often do we hear of allegations of things in churches, things in places where you would never believe, and allegations that they date back 20 and 30 years. So I think your comment about, is it just a dirty little secret, that is now becoming less of a secret because it's being investigated and because it's coming out in the open, is probably the more accurate depiction.
Your Honor, how do you handle, how does the court distinguish between the creator of this product, which not just by societal terms, by the law, is obviously a definable crime here, what's happening to a minor, but then the purveyors of it? Even if they say, listen, I'm watching, we surf the internet, do whatever, I'm watching something online, it's in my home, sure, it's offensive and morally so, but I didn't put the child in the environment I did. How does the law handle that?
Well, first of all, let me say that as a judge, I'm not able to comment on the specifics of any case. Right. It's verboten, I can't do it. But if you ask in general about how statutes are written, it seems to me, and my colleagues may have more information on this than I do, that when I read the statutes, the more recent statutes have not really made that much of a distinction between those that produce the images, those that view the images, those that distribute the images. And because we live in a world with a computer where the click of a button presses send, and all of a sudden you're a distributor, I think we have an issue in terms of law enforcement, exactly what you're saying about discerning and distinguishing between that which we traditionally thought of as the very bad guy, the guy that posed the children, the guy that sold the images, versus somebody who years ago might have been flipping through a magazine.
You know, Mark, we've talked before on this program about how, especially with privacy, the law hasn't caught up to the digital age in many ways, that it was written for a different time. Is this another example of that?
It's not another example of that, and the judge is intuitively absolutely right about it. The reason why purveyors are treated commensurately, almost equally, with those who produce and those who distribute, the theory behind it is that you're trying to quell demand. and the traffic in it stimulates the market and drives up demand. So kiddie porn offenses, be they distributors, be they producers, be they consumers, are among the most harshly punished in the U.S. Code and under the federal sentencing guidelines, and it's not having any kind of deterrent effect at all. And if you think about it, it's an intractable problem, because we've discussed it on the program before. I can't imagine that somebody would voluntarily want to be a sexual deviant. They can't really help themselves, so no matter if you make a high-profile 70-person bust that you did today, or you jack up the penalties, how much of an effect is that really going to have if these people, they're disturbed, fundamentally disturbed in some way?
And is there any consideration where, if a person is a position, I mean, one of these guys was a scout leader, a teacher.
They gravitate towards kids because historically that's what they do.
Do the penalties, do they get meted out any differently if they are in a position of authority around children?
Under the U.S. sentencing guidelines, there are enhancements for exploiting vulnerable victims, which children by definition are, and if you're abusing a position of trust. So it jacks up the penalty even further, but I got to tell you, the baseline penalties just for consuming are extraordinarily high, and I'm not the one who's saying it.
Yep.
There's a very notable opinion out of our federal appeals court, Cour d'Orvay, where very conservative federal judges are saying the penalties for consumption are just too high and encouraging trial court judges not to follow the guidelines. So it's a problem.
And we expect there's going to be more announcements on this sting, that we only got the first, in effect, viewing of it today. There's going to be more names and a lot more numbers before it's said and done. Okay, coming up next, everyone. Former NFL players, they are taking the league to court. Nothing familiar, nothing new there. Well, this time they say this isn't about concussions. They say the league pumped them with so many painkillers they could play through severe injuries like broken bones. Will this case carry even more weight than the concussion lawsuit? We'll talk about that after this.